We got some dramatic footage coming out of Fayetteville, North Carolina, where two people running from the cops crashed into a church. Now, the two people that needed Jesus the most just couldn't wait to get to church, apparently. All right, it initially happened at 2 a.m., where Fayetteville Police Department, I can't believe there's crime in Fayetteville, by the way. They spotted a sports car with a broken passenger side window. That is a clue for those of you that are not cops. Whenever you see a passenger side broken window, it's a stolen car. Now, the car matched the description of a recently reported stolen, and officers ran the tags in. Oh my gosh. Confirmed stolen. Now, two male suspects were inside, both wearing masks, and I'm sure they weren't worried about COVID, by the way. Now, before the officers initiated a stop, the vehicle fled because they didn't want to go to jail for being in their stolen car. Now, the officers didn't immediately pursue. Now, the vehicle, as you can see, lost control in the parking lot and crashed directly into the church's entrance, which was obviously captured by their wonderful 4K video system. Now, both suspects fled on foot. One suspect escaped. Now, the driver, Demir Denning, I can't make up this name, he's 18 years old. He was charged with, are you ready for this? Possession of a stolen vehicle, felony flee to elude, careless and reckless driving, no operator's license, failure to reduce speed, lane control failure, 2 counts of resist, delay, or obstruct a police officer, conspiracy. He was held on $25,000 bail. That's all you can give him, Fayetteville? $25,000 for all of that? All right. Look, this is Christian Warrior Training. I welcome all of you Christian warriors here. We talk about self-defense, protecting the church, what you can do to make yourself a good Christian warrior. If you're not a believer, you're so welcome here. We're going to break this down, not just what we talked about here, but we also need to talk about what we can do to protect the church from something like this. Here, what if this occurred when church was in service? What if this was intentional? One of the things I've been talking about over and over again is that bad actors have been running people over more and more frequently instead of using a firearm or a knife. And I've been calling for churches to put bollards or other devices in front of their church to stop vehicles so cars don't ram through there. Now, you can see the church mentioned that they had spent $8,000 on these new glass doors. Christians love their glass. They love that people can see inside, but somebody's going to drive a car right through there and run over everybody in the lobby, turn around, do it again, and then just keep going until somebody stops them. Just putting bollards up front or some other things, they don't detract from the beauty of your big glass doors, but they do stop vehicles. I am not a fan of glass doors in churches. I know it's opening and welcoming, but there's nothing like an old school oak door that can stop bullets and some bollards out front to stop a car to make your church a little bit safer. It doesn't detract from the looks. But this is a good example of what we need to do to protect our churches a little bit better. Now, if I was this Baptist church in Fayetteville, North Carolina, what I would do is put up bollards up front in front of your beautiful glass doors that you spent $8,000 on that, are now gone, to keep somebody from intentionally ramming through and hitting your people. So those bollards or planters should be reinforced concrete or steel, placed every 3 to 4 feet apart, so it can stop most vehicles. Now, decorative planters can serve the same purpose when designed with reinforced cores. So you can put planters out there and benches and stuff like that, but you're going to have to do a really good job. And I'll give you an example. I went out to dinner with the family the other night, and I want you to look at this picture. This restaurant had the right idea. They put, a bollard type device in the parking lot to keep cars from driving into the business and hurting people. But they put it in with 1/4-inch bolts that weren't even that long. They looked about like 3 or 4 inches long. And you can see it wouldn't stop. It didn't stop just somebody from tapping it because they went too far. So you're really going to have to dig deep, get them reinforced so they can look nice, but they need to actually be able to stop a car. Now, I also talk every week, I talk about the need for a 4K video system. And this 4K video system worked out, right? We were able to identify what occurred. We can use it for prosecution. Good job, man. Now, for after hours, you might want to think about gates or chains across your driveway to discourage entry into church lots. I know on midnights, I always wrote my reports when I worked nights in the middle of the night, 2, 3 in the morning. I always wrote my reports in church parking lots. I felt a little bit of peace there. I liked it. It just was peaceful and I felt closer to God there. But I often found people doing drugs and doing other things in there that aren't appropriate for a church. And it's probably just better that you close it off because really there's no need for anybody to be there until you get there in the morning. You also want to harden all your access points, right? Reinforce your main entry doors with steel cores or some kind of security film. If you're going to put up some really not, I'm not an architect, but if you're going to put nice glass doors, can you at least have some kind of hefty steel in between? If you're an architect or you're a builder, put some comments down below how we can still have our glass, but have some kind of steel that would stop a vehicle so they can't just drive straight through. It's still not going to stop an active shooter, but at least it's if you're going to have your glass doors, at least it's something a little bit better. Now, look, this incident could have been so much worse. It could have happened during service hours when worshipers were in the parking lot. I do recommend that during service hours, if you have a police pursuit coming in your direction, that you lock your church down until they are long gone. I do that because if they crash, they're going to run to your church. If they have a choice of running through an open field or into a church, it's going to be the church every time, because in their mind, they're going to have sanctuary in there and God will protect them, even though they're committing a crime and they're sinning. Of course, they can be forgiven, but probably the wrong place to go. And your safety team needs to be ready for that, right? So just my 2 cents, you don't have to militarize your church. You don't have to turn it into a bunker. You can still make it look nice while still maintaining security. And I put this meme up today on social media. And there was this church that spent $1 million on a new stage and AV system, and they would not even spend 20 grand on a 4K video system or an alarm system. Man, if we're going to spend that much money, we have to protect the people that are coming in. You have a duty to protect the people inside. Both biblical and case law states that you got to protect those people. And spending that much money on that stuff and nothing on security, it's not a smart move. Okay. I love your comments. Leave a comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. It lifts me up every day. You guys are awesome. If you haven't subscribed yet, do me a favor. There's 80% of the people that watch the videos, they come time after time, but don't subscribe. Please subscribe. It helps me spread the message of safety in our churches. And I got to show you this really quick. I want to show you what I got the other day in the comments, and it was wonderful. It says, liked, commented, and subscribed, leaving atheism and going in the direction of Christian wisdom in a church family. I love that. That made my day. Do me a favor. Make sure you subscribe, leave a comment. Algorithm picks it up. Like-minded people see the video and they're like, hey, those are my people. I think I need to hang out with them. I want you to pray for the 2 suspects. I know that's so hard, especially coming from a 30-year cop. I want you to pray for the suspects and pray that they repent for their sins and they turn their ways and they turn to Jesus. That's it. That's simple. And then I want you to remember your ABCs. Always be caring,